Hare Krishna, once again, beautiful people of the world and of YouTube and of the internet. Welcome to the Solar Shraya podcast, a timely podcast where we read the Krishna book and delve into the realm of prayer, shastra, and conversation. We are to take shelter of our dear sweet Lord Krishna. Balaram, how are you today?
I'm doing all right. We are joined again by our dear friend Vrajras Prabhu.
We are joined by Vrajras Prabhu, and I am so happy. I am so happy to see him. I I'm like, yay, he's here.
Yeah, the sight
Thank
for
you.
sore eyes.
Yes, very, very nice to have you here with us,
My
Raj.
pleasure to be here and to have the Sangha. This is amazing.
Yes, yes, thank you. Thank you, Raj. So let's get right into it. I'll bring up the prayers. And Balaram, if you want to lead in the prayers, that would be fantastic.
Sure. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jayo. So we are beginning the fourth chapter today. Raj, I don't know if Balaram told you that we are going to be in the fourth chapter of the Krishna book today. Did he tell you? Okay, good. Good. I'm going to bring it up right now, as a matter of fact. Chapter 4. Make it nice and big for everybody. All right. So, okay. Yes, here we go. Okay. So, if you guys don't mind, I'll just start reading.
Yeah, let's just say that Vasudeva just came back from switching Krishna right across the river. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is my volume
okay? It dove out just for a second there.
So, yeah, I think something's wrong with the actual hardware of the mic. Vraj, would you like to say something about this switching of the babies and just the significance of that before we get into the next scene here?
Yeah, this is a amazing pastime, and what I've heard and what I've read, what is the most important thing, as soon as somebody talks to me about coming from an Indian background, people talk to me about these pastime where there is switching of the baby, and the very first question comes that who is born in the jail? Is he Krishna or he is the 400 form of Vishnu, the 400 form Vishnu, an expansion of Krishna. So one of the lectures I was hearing that actually Krishna, who is coming from Goloka Vrindavan, from that abode, from his original abode in the spiritual world, he is coming in his own original form and taking birth in Gokul Mahavan. So this is a beautiful story in which when Krishna is taking birth in the jail, that's in Mathura, which is like probably 40-50 miles away from Gokul Mahavan, which is other side of the Yamuna river. And when Krishna is coming, he gives darshan to Vasudeva in 400 form. And then he takes the form of a baby Krishna. So as soon as, so all these things are happening through the expansion of Krishna, who is the 400 form, Vishnu form of Krishna. And Krishna is personally appearing directly in Goloka Vrindavan. When there is an exchange of the babies in Gokul Mahavan, Krishna is coming back in his all the 64 qualities. Like that. So there's no difference. But there is a small thin line where Krishna from Goloka Vrindavan is actually engaged in only the pastimes of Krishna, his own loving pastimes. So that's a small thin line which many times we miss. And then another thought comes is, who is that baby? So whether she is, so we all know that there are two energies of Krishna. One is internal energy, one is external energy. And there is the energy, the external energy is Mahamaya, that is Durga Devi, or you can call Kali, right? So most of the TV episodes which has been shown in India and on this subject matter of like pastimes of Krishna, there has been like, I remember in my days when I was young, I was a teenager, we had this TV episode in India. We used to have only one channel, one TV channel, that's it. And when this TV episode named Krishna was played, everyone used to be freeze. And before that, a TV episode was Mahabharata. And everyone used to be freeze. On Sunday, there was no one on the road. Even dogs were sitting and watching Mahabharata. Yeah. And you won't believe that this TV episodes have imprinted on the mind of each one of those who have watched them and understand them. And what they present is something like, that the girl which has exchanged, the baby which is born to Mother Yashoda has been exchanged with Krishna. And when the baby comes back to the jail, where Vasudeva is bringing back the baby, and then Kamsa comes to know that there's a baby born, and Kamsa tries to kill the baby, hit the baby along the wall, across the wall, on the wall, basically, boom, and the baby flies in the air. And she informs, a voice comes up, and she informs that the person who is about to kill you is already born. And Kamsa is like, what? I've been cheated. So it's a very wonderful, dramatic pastime. And the biggest learning for us is that the energy of Krishna, the sister of Krishna is Yogamaya, that is Subhadra, right? So the girl which is born to Mother Yashoda, it has been said, is Subhadra. She is actually, the Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra. Like, so Subhadra is always under the protection of Mother Rohini, and she has been taken care very nicely. So there are there's a small one learning we can take from this, which is very practical, is that Vasudeva is having 100% faith on Krishna, the God, the divinity, the supreme power, he is ready to do anything. Just like, imagine there's a Hollywood movie going on, and in the movie, there's a guy in a car, and he's a fighter. He's a person who is in army or some kind of special forces, and he's going vroom, vroom, vroom. And somebody on the Bluetooth is telling him that take right, and he says there's no right here. It's all bushes, or there's all a wall or something. And he says, if you believe me, take a right. And he takes a right. Oh, and then he says, wow, there's a way here. Huh? So Vasudeva is believing in the words of Krishna. He takes Krishna on the head in a basket, and he's crossing a river. Can you believe it? Which is flowing swiftly. It's not flowing very slowly, it's very fast. The stream is very fast. How can one walk? Can't imagine. That's where his faith brings miracles. As soon as he walks in the river, the Yamuna River first rises up. It rises. So he has little fear as a human that, oh, maybe the baby will get in trouble. So he goes up like this, up, and still the water comes up. And what is the reason? The Acharya says that river Yamuna she is a very great devotee of Krishna. And she wants to touch the feet of Krishna. So the water comes up above the eye level and touches the feet and gets apart, and the water is aparted, and Vasudeva is walking very nicely in the river. So yeah, such a sweet pastime. Just wanted to share something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me, Andrea, in our last episode, was mentioning the parallel with Moses crossing the Red Sea, right, in the Bible. The similarity of just that almighty power of God. And yeah, it's such a nice note that like the faith is there, right? Because that was the same thing. Moses instructed the people to go in. And if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't until they, first stepped in that the sea parted. Is that right, Jake?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah.
It had to be from an act of faith.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many examples like that in the Bible, like just, take the leap and Lord will catch you.
Yeah.
But this is adding another element because it's not just the almighty power of God, like, whoa, like the water is just like almost as though the water itself is inert, but this is adding personality to the river, that the river actually is a personality and has this relationship with the supreme being, that she wants to touch his feet. This is so much more there. Yeah, and that like fine line you were saying, like with the Gokula, that there's Krishna and then there's an expansion of Krishna. And this was something that tripped me up when I was first started studying Bhagavad Gita, and Arjuna asked, Krishna to show his original form. And then there's sort of like discrepancy, because he shows the four-arm form and right, and then the two-arm form. It's like, well, okay, which one's the original one? And so people point to this previous chapter, and they say, oh, look, he appeared first as the four-arm form. That must be his original form. So it's not unless you are admitted access to Vrindavan that you can understand who Krishna really is, right? It's not unless you're granted access into the like inner mysteries, if you will, of bhakti, of devotion, you can understand. that actually the original form is Krishna, even if it appears as though his original, or like the way that he entered the world, was with a four-armed form. That's an expansion of him outside of Vrindavan. Um, and I mean, one thing that I think of in this is like Krishna does certain things to throw off the demons, or not necessarily demons, but people who don't have that love for him. He'll trick them. He's a trickster. Like, he left a supposed physical body behind when he left the planet, right? To fool the, atheists. And it's like he'll give you something to believe in if you don't want to believe in him. You know,
Interesting.
but actually, just like the real version of any person is only seen inside their home, right? Like, you don't get the full Bhakti Jake, on this podcast.
Yeah. You couldn't
Who
handle
is
the full Bhakti
who
Jake.
is who's the inner man there? If you go to his home. No, we're here to take shelter, and we want to give expression from our heart. But just as an example, right? The person on the job versus the person in the home with the family are two different people.
Yeah.
And so outside of Vrindavan, Krishna expands himself, and this book will get into that very subtle thing, and we'll see, the different ways that Krishna is relating with the different souls inside and outside of Vrindavan. And it's all on the Absolute platform also. It's another thing. It's like it's all Krishna. It's all still Krishna. Okay, anything else before we start?
Amazing.
Mm.
Krishna is amazing.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
he's now situated in Vrindavan in his home with Mother Yashoda, right, and Nanda Maharaj. And then now that scene has been put on hold, and now we're back in Mathura with his birth parents, who have Yogamaya, the sister energy of Krishna.
Yeah.
Who's Subhadra? I was wondering about that, because I've never heard it said like explicitly that Yogamaya is Subhadra, because she like goes up to the heavenly planets or something after in this chapter. I guess we'll get to that. But I was always wondering, like, where did she go after that? So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, okay. After Vasudeva adjusted things as they had been before, he carried Krishna to Gukola, and all the doors and gates became similarly closed. The gatekeepers awoke and heard the newborn child crying. Kamsa was waiting to hear the news of the child's birth, and the gatekeepers immediately approached him and informed him that the child was born. At that time, Kamsa got up from his bed very quickly and exclaimed, "Now the cruel death of my life is born." Kamsa became perplexed. Now that his death was approaching and his hair scattered, immediately he proceeded toward the palace where the child was born. This guy, I tell you. Egomaniac. Anyway, Devaki, on seeing her brother approaching, prayed in a very meek attitude to Kamsa, "My dear brother, please do not kill this female child. I promise that this child will be the wife of your son. Therefore, don't kill her. You are not to be killed by any female child. The omen was that you are to be killed by a male child. So please do not kill her. My dear brother, You have killed so many of my children who were just born, shining like the sun. That is not your fault. You have been advised by demoniac friends to kill my children. But now I beg you to excuse this girl, at least let her live as my daughter. Kamsa was so cruel that he did not listen to the pitiful prayers of his sister Devaki. He forcibly grabbed the newborn child to rebuke his sister and attempted to dash her on a stone mercilessly. This is a graphic example of a cruel demon who could sacrifice all relationships for the sake of personal gratification. But the child immediately slipped out of his hands, went up into the sky, and appeared with 8 arms as the younger sister of Vishnu. She was decorated with nice garments and flower garlands and ornaments. In her 8 hands, she held a bow, lance, arrows, sword, conch shell, disc, club, and shield. Seeing the appearance of the child, who was actually the goddess Durga, all the demigods from different planets like Siddhaloka, Karanaloka, Gandharva Loka, Apsara Loka, Kanara Loka, Uraga Loka, presented her with various articles and began to offer their respective prayers. From above, the goddess addressed Kamsa. You rascal! How can you kill me? The child who will kill you is already born before me somewhere within this world. Don't be so cruel to your poor sister. After this appearance, Goddess Durga became known by various names in various parts of the world. All right.
Okay.
You know? Yes. All right. Should I keep going?
Do we want to talk about any of that? I mean, it's pretty
Yeah,
epic.
so as we were talking about that, what is happening here is it's the appearance day of Goddess Durga. And, it's a day, so when Krishna is taking birth,
Hmm.
already Krishna's energies are presented there, right? So it has been like, I was talking to one friend in India, and that friend was saying that I want to visit holy places. And I said, okay, you can go here and here, and you can also go and take darshan at Goddess Durga's temple. And he said that, oh, I'm more of like Krishna, I'm like Krishna, and I can also take Shiva, but, I don't want to go for Durga. So then I explained that this same understanding what Prabhupada is presenting here, we have to understand that all these are energies of Krishna. They are all to be respected. They are all to be prayed. They are all to be offered obeisances. And we need to understand that they are intimately involved with the supreme power. Just like the king is there and there are so many ministers. So the ministers are intimately connected to the king. Even though it seems that each and every minister has his own province and or own kingdom or own duty, and it may not seem to a common man that, oh, the minister is connected to king. And in that regard, and this is very much important to know, because it is as we are understanding about the supreme being Krishna, the personality, we have to also understand about his energies. And I'll just give one small example which Prabhupada always quote, that there was a man who wanted to serve the greatest. And the man wanted to serve the greatest, so he was serving a merchant because he knew the merchant is the great. But he saw that merchant is taking some kind of a wealth and going once a month somewhere, and he gives the wealth there and comes back. So he find out that he goes to the king. So he told the merchant, I want to serve the king because I want to serve the best. And then he was serving the king, and while he was serving the king, he saw that the king takes the wealth and goes somewhere and give it there and comes back.
Hmm.
So he found out that he goes to the temple. He goes to the temple and gives to Krishna. And then he said the king that, "O king, I want to be serving Krishna. I want to be serving the greatest." And the king said, "Okay, no problem." So we have to understand this concept of the energy and energetic, the supreme and the living being, the supreme being and the living being. So we as living beings, we are in the category of human beings. Also, the demigods are coming in the category of human beings, but they are special human beings. They are blessed. If you see many of because many times this word demigod is not to be considered in any other philosophy so much, but it has been accepted by many people. And we have to try and understand that it is the energy. It is the energy which is powerful, how much the energetic is powerful. So I come from a place where not only Krishna is worshipped, but his energies are also worshipped greatly, like Shiva, Durga, very powerfully, like that. So yeah, that's where we have to understand why they are worshipped, because they're connected closely with Krishna. Just wanted to share this.
So it's like if we're only looking at Krishna, it's like, of course, we should make our vision, Jagannath Swami Nayana Patigami Bhavatu May, right? May only the Lord always be manifest to my vision. But it's like there's two things, because one, the Kanishta Adhikar, like the baseline qualification that we can have of seeing the Lord is only in one position. I understand the Lord when I look at the altar, or, for other religions, it's like I understand the Lord in this aspect of divinity. But when I look out into other places in the world, I don't see his position there. And then if we're only if we won't see him situated quantitatively in that way, but also qualitatively, we won't understand how great Lord is if we don't understand that all of these other greatnesses are his. So by understanding and glorifying, like honoring Durga, Shiva, Brahma, because you can do that in a consciousness that is not Krishna conscious, that is, not understanding their relationship with Krishna, and like that Krishna is the source of that potency, and then that's demigod worship, which is condemned, right? But to understand that these form, like we can have some kind of estimation of how great Krishna is if we understands, the greatness of these energies. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The greatness is understood by knowing the greatness of the energies. Just like if we want to know how great is this person, then go and check out what he has done, or what his energies has done, or what he has done to the energies. Means this, how is the son, how is the daughter, how is the employees, like that. So then everyone is like, oh, everyone is appreciating this man. You know, he's really great. Why? Because the energies are great also.
Yeah, it's like a king. It's not like, it's just, oh, he's just sitting in an office all day. How can you say he's great? But you don't understand that his energies are pervading everywhere and that he is directly responsible for everything that's being carried out in the kingdom. If the king were to be killed, like that would fall apart, but we don't have an appreciation for that because we're not tuned in, to those activities, and unless we render that service, right? And then we join the brigade, or if you will, and then we start to see, oh, okay, actually so many things are happening because of this leader.
Yeah. Is it?
So, okay, so question. That seeing the appearance of this child who is actually the goddess Durga. All right, so we're talking about Durga. Earlier we were saying that she's Yoga Maya. So we understand that there's Krishna's internal potency as the spiritual goddess, and then his external potency as the material goddess. But what I'm hearing is that, we've referred to this daughter as both of those beings. Is that right? Are both of these aspects the same? I've understood this from other devotees as well, but this can be a confusing point. How they're the same personality. Could you speak on that?
The goddess Durga is the external energy, and she is the Bahiranga Shakti. That's a Sanskrit word used. And so basically the Antaranga Shakti, so the original internal energy is Radharani. Okay. But then she has been empowering the Yogamaya Shakti, which is the internal potency we say. So, and Sanskrit words, when we talk in English, there may be little changes of words, or maybe the position or designation changes. But when we talk in Sanskrit, it becomes like Ladhini Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, and Tatasya Shakti. So the Ladhini Shakti is Radharani. And she is empowering the Yogamaya Shakti to behave or to control everything, right? So Krishna's Yogamaya Shakti is what it is, an expansion of Radharani. Then Krishna's external energy, Bahiranga Shakti, is also an expansion of Radharani. So both are expansions of Radharani. So when we talk about the external energy of Krishna, she is Durga, Parvati. When we talk, and Krishna, Prabhupada says that the living entities who are in this material world, material creation, the cosmic creation, they are under the jurisdiction of the Mahamaya Shakti, that is the external energy, Durga. And the living entities who are in the spiritual world, they are under the jurisdiction of the Yogamaya Shakti of Krishna. That is the expansion of Radharani, like that. So that is the Yogamaya Shakti is considered to be Subhadra.
Wow.
And that's where in the spiritual world, even the relationships between the friends of Krishna and Krishna sometimes becomes like, oh, he seems to be God, because Krishna killed some demon, right?
Yeah.
Friends start thinking, oh, one friend starts thinking he seems to be God. And all of a sudden the other friend says, hey, come on, he's our Krishna. He cannot be God. He's powerful, but he's not God. So that understanding is coming in the mind of the friends of Krishna because of the Yogamaya energy of Krishna.
Mm.
It doesn't allow the rasa or the taste to go away. The taste which Krishna want to enhance or experience from his friends. Imagine the friends started worshipping Krishna as God.
Mm.
It may not, it never happens. Friends are friends. They treat you like, hey, come on, what are you doing? This, like that, like the pastime of Govardhan. Krishna lifting Govardhan, and the friends of Krishna are thinking, one of the friends, his name is Sudama, Sridama. So Sridama says, Krishna cannot lift the Govardhan. Yesterday only I defeated him wrestling. He's weaker than me. It is me who has empowered him. That's why Krishna is lifting Govardhan. So that is the Yogamaya Shakti, which is engaging the living entities in the spiritual world to not remember Krishna as something else other than their relationship with Krishna.
Mm.
If their relationship is in friendship, they'll always think Krishna as a friend. If their relationship is as father and mother, they're like Devaki, like Yashoda Mai. Yashoda, she saw in Krishna's mouth the mud, but not the mud. She saw the whole universe. And she fainted. And when she woke up, she said, oh, my son, is my son God? Oh, people keep saying like that. Nand Baba comes and says, people keep saying like that, but he's our son, Krishna. And Krishna, come, hug your mother. And Mother Yashoda is hugged by Krishna, and Mother Yashoda says, oh, he's my baby. He cannot be God.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's where the Yogamaya potency is engaging the devotees in the spiritual world like that. And in the spiritual world, the Mahamaya Shakti, Mahamaya, the external energy is engaging the living entities away from Krishna. That is her job. Very difficult job, right? Imagine if you're standing in the at the door and at the gate of a prasadam hall, and you are asked not to allow inside anybody. How cruel! How cruel job is! You will stop someone. Hey, where are you going, Prabhu? No, you're not allowed. So Mahamaya's energy, she's devoted to Krishna, and she's been told, you are engaged to not let any living entity think about me.
Mm.
You have to entangle everybody in these material conditions. And she is in that situation also. She is engaged, but she is serving Krishna. How great she is, isn't it? How great that service is.
Mm.
Just like just like Akrura. Akrur was uncle of Krishna. And when Krishna came to Vrindavan, Akrur was still a king in the province of Kamsa, was a demon, still was a king in the province. And Kamsa sent Akrura after 14 years to bring Krishna to Mathura so that Kamsa can kill Krishna. So Akrura for 14 years, he was ruling as a king in one of the provinces under the jurisdiction of Kamsa, being a devotee. We complain, oh, Prabhuji, my situation is not conducive for practicing bhakti. There is no association. There is very difficult. It is, I'm not getting time. My days are packed up and my family is ruined and this and that. What worse can happen than Akrura? He midst of Kamsa and all that demonic people, and he has to rule a small province. At the same time, he has to remember Krishna.
Mm.
This is Yogamaya Shakti. Yogamaya Shakti acts on devotees. Pure devotees of the Lord. And the Mahamaya Shakti engages on the conditioned living entities, the Baddha Jiva. who are eternally bounded by the ropes of illusion. So yeah, this is a little what I've learned and heard about the Mahamaya Shakti, the external energy and the internal energy of Krishna. Like that.
Wow. Wow. Amazing.
Going a little deep, but the question was really deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So depending on basically where your heart is, if you're facing God or facing away from God, his energy, you'll have a distinct relationship with
Yes.
one or the other of these aspects, internal, external.
And even that glimpse we can get in this material world, I'll tell you. A student staying with me, he had an exam, he could not do it best. I told him, okay, let's pray and chant Krishna. Turn to Krishna. And he chanted nicely, intensely, bagging out. And next day he got an opportunity to reappear for that exam. And he did great. And it was like, oh Krishna, I will never stop turning to Krishna.
Mm.
So that glimpse Krishna gives us, that this is how my Yogmaya potency works. And it comes slowly, slowly in bits and pieces in this material world. But keep drifting away. And then Krishna gives you something. And then you hook up to that, and then Maya drifts you away, but Krishna gives you something.
So good. So
Jai.
good. Yes, Jai. Let me see here. Okay, I could probably get in another paragraph right here if you guys want to keep on going.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll keep on going. Keep on keeping on. Like a bird that flew. All right. After hearing these words, Kamsa became very much overwhelmed with fear. Out of pity, he immediately released Vasudeva and Devaki from the bondage of their shackles and very politely began to address them. He said, "My dear sister and brother-in-law, I have acted just like a demon in killing my own nephews, your children, and thereby I have given up all consideration of our intimate relationship. I do not know what will be the result of these envious acts of mine. Probably I shall be sent to the hell where killers of the Brahmas go. I am surprised, however, that the celestial prophecy has not come true. It is not only in human society that false propaganda is found. Now it appears that even the celestial denizens speak lies. Because I believed in the words of the celestial denizens, I have committed so many sins by killing the children of my sister. My dear Vasudeva and Devaki, you are both very great souls. I have no instructions to give you, but still I request that you not be sorry for the death of your children. Every one of us is under the control of superior power, and that superior power does not allow us to remain together. We are bound to be separated from our friends and relatives in due course of time, but we must know for certain that even after the disappearance of different material bodies, the soul remains intact eternally. For example, there are many pots made of earthly clay, and they are prepared and also broken. But in spite of this, the earth remains as it is perpetually. Similarly, the bodies of the soul under different conditions are made and destroyed, but the spirit soul remains eternally. So there is nothing to lament over. Everyone should understand that this material body is different from the spirit soul. And so long as one does not come to that understanding, he is sure to accept the process of transmigration from one body to another. So now Kamsa is like, oh, hey, I'm sorry. Sorry I killed all your kids, but hey, they'll be around again. So don't worry about it, okay? Oh my goodness. This guy, I mean, and it gets crazier too. I just wanted to interject here real quick that this guy is like the amount of evil just blows my mind from Kamsa. Like, he's just like so like, it's okay, they'll be back. I mean, we're all made out of dirt, right? I mean, the dude, I'm trying to think of who could play Kamsa in like a Hollywood movie. Like what's the most villainous person you could think of? Like, I don't know. He's like the Joker and like every bad guy you could possibly think of, like kind of like wrapped into one. But it fascinates me like his ego. His ego is like laughable,
Mm.
It's like, how do you have the nerve to say what you're saying, dude? You know? So yeah. Sorry. Anyone wanna Raj, you want to say something on that?
Yeah, this kind of people, they are existing still now. And it is said that Kamsa has died at 5,000 years back, but still existing in our heart.
Mm.
And that kind of mentality is very much powerful, pervading everywhere. Especially, Prabhupada used the one word, lord it over material nature. So Kamsa is having that mentality of going through problems and then lording it over the nature, lording it over the Lord, the problems. That, these people, they promised me something, but they didn't. It is their problem, lording it on others' shoulders. This kind of mentality very, very commonly seen here in this material world.
Mm.
I'm sure you guys have experienced such kind of people in life. So that is called Kamsa mentality. And many times, often, it's me.
Everybody. Yep.
Many times, devotees talk to each other and they say, hey, Prabhu, it's Kamsa mentality,
Yeah.
right? So definitely when Kamsa is shocked and when Kamsa is taking that situation, that how it's possible, it's a pure bewilderment.
Mm.
He's bewildered and he's not able to assimilate any understanding out of it. That A plus B is equal to C, how can A plus B equal to D? Because the linear thinking of the materialistic people in this material world cannot comprehend the plans of God. We have this understanding, that everything, it is said that everything has to be in an ascending order. After one comes two, and two comes three, and three and four. And this is how the historians, the scientists, the geologists, everyone is studying like that. So the modern education, which has been prevailing all over the globe, is talking about everything has to be in a chronological order. Everything has to be in an ascending or descending order. Increase like this, decrease like that. But when it comes to Krishna, when it comes to God, the supreme divine being, the energetic, for him, the things cannot be straight. It can be straight, it cannot be straight. So this is also the mentality. Prabhupada quotes in many of the purports that this is also the people who are engaged in their own mental speculation. This is the word used, Prabhupada used, mental speculation. So now Kamsa is trying to speculate. What is this? How it is possible? It cannot happen. But unless and until Kamsa is not trying to be submissive to the Supreme Being, or people who are not trying to be connecting to that Supreme Being, to that divine energetic,
Mm.
there is no possibility of overcoming this bewilderment, overcoming this mental speculation.
Mm.
And then there is no end. It has been said that there are thousands and thousands of people that are still in darkness, even though it is 21st century, even though the information system has, communication system has increased so much, still in their in ignorance.
Yeah.
So Kamsa is so powerful that the Maya Shakti is keeping the ignorance strong.
Mm.
That's where Prabhupada came. Prabhupada came and Prabhupada did that. What a pure devotee, what a empowered being who is empowered by the Supreme Being can do. He did that by bringing out people from ignorance to light. As it says, nescience is darkness, knowledge is light.
Mm.
Krishna is the knowledge and Maya is the darkness. And that Bengali saying is, Krishna Surya Saman, Maya hoy andhakar. Jaha Krishna, nahi Mayar adhikar. That Krishna is like sun and Maya is like darkness. But where there is Krishna, there is no jurisdiction of Maya, or there's no jurisdiction of the people like Kamsa, like that.
Mm. Wow.
Thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well said. I could read just a little bit more. We're getting there as far as time goes, but I could maybe do just one more paragraph, maybe.
Yeah, next two paragraphs are he's basically just
Yeah.
continuing to elaborate.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So okay. Yeah, sure. There's something. Okay. So my dear
Unless
sister.
Vraj,
Oh yeah.
Should I read?
Oh yeah. If you
Yeah.
want to read.
My
Or whatever.
I can read. I have no issues. I was just thinking why we are stopping.
Well, here I'll just go ahead and read the next paragraph then, unless you want to read, Raj.
I have a desire to read. I'll read. Because my readings have gone down a little bit. So let me read it for my own purification. My dear sister Devaki, you are so gentle and kind. Please excuse me. Don't be aggrieved by the death of your children, which I have caused. Actually, this was not done by me because all these are predestined activities. One has to act according to the predestined plan, even unwillingly. People misunderstand that with the end of the body, the self dies, or they think that one can kill another living entity. All these misconceptions oblige one to accept the conditions of material existence. In other words, as long as one is not firmly convinced of the eternality of the soul, one is subjected to the tribulation of being killer and killed. My dear sister Devki and brother-in-law Vasudev, kindly excuse the atrocities I have committed against you. I'm very poor-hearted and you are so great-hearted. So take compassion upon me and excuse me. When
Wow.
Kamsa picking this brother-in-law and sister, tears flowed from his eyes and he fell down at the feet, believing the words of Durga Devi, whom he had tried to kill. Kamsa immediately realized his brother-in-law and sister. He personally unlocked the iron shackles and very sympathetically showed his friendship of his family members. So the dialogue of Kamsa ends.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is just really amazing. As you were saying, people aren't surrendering to the Lord. It just like making so many excuses, like, projecting the blame onto others, and like that's yeah, that one sin is actually, this was not done by me. So he's refusing to take responsibility, right? So yeah, we can see how, in this material world, we're all doing that. Like, no one really wants to take the blame. Everyone's very quick to point fingers,
Mm.
and you just stay in that speculative position in your armchair, like, oh, it's them doing, I'm fine, and yeah, the mind is just so powerful, how it can warp reality in such a deep way. You just slaughtered kids, your nephews, and you're able to, bend that, like, okay, it actually wasn't me. um I mean, he is feeling remorse, like that much has to be granted. Like, he's having a change of heart for sure, but still he's not able to bring himself to that position of being a devotee of, okay, I want to serve Krishna. Like, let me bring myself there. So Vraj, please help us. We are all like Kamsa, and we find it very difficult to leave that speculative position of outsourcing blame and taking responsibility for our sins. Like, please help. How can we cross that chasm?
Yeah, and it's a very deep question, and it needs it can be summarized that Kamsa is trying to be a show bottle. He's he's trying to be.
Mm.
I remember my mother used to always say, whenever she used to, means of course all the parents try to correct their child, and I used to a little bit cry, and tears used to come profusely from my eyes, even though there is no reason to cry. But yeah, and my mother used to tell me, "Oh, these are the tears of crocodiles."
Yes, yes,
These are
that's what I
crocodile
was
tears.
gonna say.
Isn't it?
Crocodile tears.
So yeah, this realization of Kamsa is Shamshan Vairagya. It's another term used where people they go to the crematorium, they go to the cemetery, they go to the places where people are dying, and they feel very sad. Oh, we had so much good time. Now time is gone. How life is going to go about. And from next day onwards, the same thing begins again, or after a few months, a few years.
Hmm.
And that's where Yudhishthir Maharaj, who's elder brother of the Pandavas, was asked by this king Yaksha, who was an invincible person, while they were about to drink some, he was about to drink water from a pond. And this question was asked that what is the most wonderful thing in this world? So Yudhishthir didn't told that, oh, best wonderful thing is the Niagara Falls or Grand Canyon, or India's Taj Mahal.
Hmm.
That was not the answer of Yudhishthir. That what is the most wonderful thing in the world? What he said, that the most wonderful thing in this world is people are dying every day. And still the neighbors, still the family members are thinking that we are not dying, we have plans.
Mm.
People are making plans day in, day out, but they are dying. And that's a more wonderful thing which God has presented to the human beings, that he has not put through us to all these situations to be into staying into our heart every moment. He's given us the ability to forget and let go. People like Kamsa, as per the Prabhuji is asking this thing, that how do we understand that, how do we overcome this mentality of thinking that this is because of him, this is because of that. So there's a wonderful verse in Bhagavad Gita which speaks about the appearance, the existence of the supreme being in everyone's heart. Krishna says that I am present in everyone's heart. So till the time we are not understanding that the person ahead standing in front of us is not only the person, but is also carrying the Lord in the heart. Krishna says, I am the seed-giving father. I am the person who is in everyone's heart. Mamai vamsha jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manashasthani indriyani. That's where, and then he also says, Aham bija pratapita. I am the original seed-giving father. So what is the point? That we have to understand that there is an existence of the supreme controller, supreme power, and he's all pervading. And the step-by-step process of understanding that is been presented to us by various, many great souls and many acharyas. And that is called as sadhana bhakti. That is the devotion towards the Lord in a very systematic approach, in a way where we can able to understand our progress. And that is called Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Also, it is adding that not only the process is coming from some person, but it is coming from the Vedas, from the scriptures. Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And that is where it is including the most important aspect of chanting the names of Krishna, chanting the name in particular, one particular mantra. And that mantra is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the mantra. It has been mentioned in many scriptures. Kali Santara Upanishad is mentioning that. What is it mentioning? Anybody? Hare Nam? Hare Nameva Kevalam Kalo Nasteva Nasteva Gatiranyata. Just by chanting the holy names of Krishna, what will happen? All the sins will be eradicated. All the sins will be eradicated. On not only that, there will be profuse love flowing from the heart. And I was hearing this special lecture by Radhanath Swami, and Radhanath Swami Maharaj says he's one of the persons who have written this book, Journey Home. And he says that in the journey of his life to go home, and he considers the home the shelter of the divine being, the Supreme Lord, Krishna. He finds in Krishna in Vrindavan, and he says that in the journey, I realized that if we want to love Krishna, if you want to love anybody, if you want to love our friends, our family, then only one thing we need to do is love Krishna, love the Supreme Being, because he is loving everyone. The Supreme Being is loving everyone. So that love which we have for Krishna will reflect for others. And there will be no hatredness. And there will be no Kamsas existing. You. Sorry, I would have been going a little different from the question, but yeah, the question is very good. And thank you for asking that, bringing that point in front of us. And that is for me, especially.
So one thing I got from that, thank you so much, is that our disdain or our inertia, against surrendering ourselves to the Lord, that resistance that we feel in our heart, is the same resistance that the sadhana of chanting the holy name will present to us. And simply by applying ourselves to the chanting, we are overcoming that. It's like Satchidananda Swami says, the antidote to ahamameti, this I and mine mentality, is namashraya, taking shelter of the holy name and simply chanting. It's not a complicated thing.
Mm.
It's just recognizing, oh, here's Krishna and the deity as well, and the Paramatma in others' hearts, like this, the word of God, the guru, the sadhu, right? Oh, here is Krishna. Let me simply abide with him, right? Let me invite him to be present in my life. Let me chant.
Mm.
And that's all I had to do was say, here are the Vaishnavas. Let me serve. Let me try to enter the Sangha of devotees. But instead he chose to live in his own world.
Yeah.
It's his misfortune. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Okay. Yeah. In fact, I just wanted to add one more thing. I was just attending a session on Sadhu Sangha, means what is real, as you brought up the point, that we should have this association, So association means, it's translated in English as Sadhu Sangha, in Hindi, or in Sanskrit it's Sadhu Sangha. Sangha means association, and association of great saintly people. So, as all of us know that we are actually in the process of sadhana bhakti, that means we are in the process of taking care of our bhakti lata creeper, or we are already, the seed has sown, we are chanting Hare Krishna, we are practicing devotion. Now our plant is growing, and our plant has to grow, so we have to first take care of the roots. The root of the plant is what? It is association. The root of the plant is association. And that is sadhu sangha. In a plant, there is root, there is leaves, there are twigs, so many other things. So the root is sadhu sangha. And that's why we have to, in order to continue on the path of devotional service and awaken Krishna Prem, we must always be in a dependent mood in the sadhu sangha. So whenever we enter into such association, our mood should be dependent. That yes, I'm going to get something today for myself. I'm dependent on this guru, sangha. I cannot leave this sangha. And therefore, one last statement, which is very powerful, little deep, but yeah, Jiva Goswami says that, and he says that though one usually ignores others in attaining one's own goals, those aspiring for prema accept dependence on others with similar goals and taste. Thus, cooperating with each other, they work together, keeping in mind the goal of prema. Right? So, that is where is very, very important, that Sangha can have different flavors, taste, and everything. But at the end of the day, we have to know and tell each other that, oh, we have each other. Because without each other, our goal is same. We are looking for Krishna Prema, and we are working towards that. And that is what we are anchoring. It may so happen that today my bhakti is going down, or there's waves of bhakti devotion. It doesn't mean that the Sangha is having issues. The Sangha needs cooperation, cooperating with each other. And Prabhupada also said these words, last words of Prabhupada were, that please cooperate. So people like Kamsa, they will never cooperate. But devotees, whatever it happens, they know that at the end of the day, we have each other. Like that. So yeah, this Krishna book is bringing so much nectar. Very bold. I need your Sangha. I'm back to Soul Ashraya to take the shelter.
Very cool. Thank you so much for joining us again, Braj. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your association and for your Sangha. And yeah, I feel like me and Balaram just are like sitting here like, wow, like for the whole show, you know. Thank you so much, Raj. Thank you. That's it for this episode. Let's end it real quick by reciting the Maha Mantra 3 times, and then we shall bid adieu to our YouTube audience. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, push buttons on your YouTube for our channel, and we will catch you next time on the flip side. Hare Krishna, Hare Bo.
Libo.